Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our third week of the Ramadan edition of Book Bites. It's incredible how quickly the month has gone. I hope you're capturing every blessing and every blessed moment of this time. But I've also kept a tab on what's local and what's out there in our literary field, in the publishing world. I independently published for many years, and so I love the idea that there's new writing emerging all the time. I read Diary of Hanaan, Essa, a fictional novel that is so delightful. I read the book this week. I enjoyed it. And I have the pleasure of speaking to one of our own on Salam Media, Umamah. Welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure and so much fun to have read the book and to finally have a chance to speak to you. Mubarak on the book. Congratulations. What's the journey been like and how's it going for you?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me on air today. It feels so weird being a guest after being a presenter the entire time. But I am so happy to come on and talk about my baby, which is Diary of Hanaan Essa. I can't really explain to you what the journey has been like because it's been all over the place. It has been something out of this world. Started off very hectic. As Auntie Shafinaaz would know that independently publishing is very hard. It's very stressful. There's so much that goes into it. So it was dealing with all of that for the first 6 months, I think, after writing it and editing. And I wanted to not even publish the book for such a while. But then the book was published and I had my launches. And now I still sit in awe and I can't believe that I wrote and published a book, alhamdulillah. The journey has been a whirlwind of emotions, but it has been the most amazing thing I think I've ever experienced. It's been amazing, alhamdulillah.
That's so special. And I think that, it's inspiring for anyone out there who wants to write because you sit with this material, you write it, you're not sure exactly what you're going to do with it. And then after some courage and editing, it makes it out there. It's definitely an accomplishment, and it's so special that you can share it with the world, share it with young readers. What I really enjoyed was that reading this book also took me back, because you have to step back into the mind of um, being that teenager again, being that young person. There's the wonder of life, but there's a certain amount of stress of life as well, right? I wish for the stress of my teenage years again. Talk to us about like what it means to step into the mind of a young person, a younger person, because you are a young person, to write on this level, to really like get the emotions out through writing.
I think for me personally, I expressed every emotion ever very loudly growing up, and my entire family can attest to that. I was a very loud, obnoxious kid, and so I was very in tune with my emotions and how I felt, and so bringing those emotions back was quite easy for me, I could say, because after experiencing growing up, example, seeing when Hanan started at 10 years old, after experiencing that and seeing the people around me going through the exact same experiences I've been through, it kind of affirmed the way that I felt at that moment. And so it was a bit hard kind of readjusting the way of talking and the way of speaking to a 10-year-old's level. And when you read it, the first diary entry is very, I can say, on a higher standard than the usual 10-year-old. But I was exactly like that at 10. I was acting like I was 15 years old. And so I wanted to still portray that because almost every 10-year-old today does not act 10 and they are so advanced for their age. So it was almost kind of hard to balance being an advanced 10-year-old but also keeping that childish personality. But when I finally got the hang of it after a few tries, I really enjoyed writing from a younger perspective and seeing how she kind of grew from being 10 years old right to being 17. It was it's a storyline that even while I was writing it, I enjoyed it so much because you saw her look back at when she was 10, when she was a little bit older, and you saw her think about her future when she was younger. And it just becomes this full circle moment when I read it back now and while I was writing, that she really grew up. Her personality grew, her thoughts changed, and we saw her age from 10 right through 17.
What I like also is that a book of this nature, like you say, captures the innocence, the immaturity, but it shows realization, right? Because we all have different phases of life where we learn through life. And when you really pay attention as a person, or from as maybe as a parent looking at a younger person, a book like this allows that bridge of understanding. We always talk about like the generation gap, right? So here's a manual in a way, in a light-hearted way, to say, if you really want to understand the mind of a younger person, cross this bridge through this book and learn through it. But also, so I think young and old would enjoy this book. How has the response been so far? Now that I know it's freshly launched, how has the response been from younger and older people?
Oh, Auntie Shafinaaz, I can go on about this for hours and hours. I was very, very afraid. Like I've been saying before publishing, I was so afraid of what people would think. There's a lot of. I'm going to start off by saying that there's a lot of more sensitive topics that are in the book. And as much as I do say Hanaan is a reflection of me, I didn't want people to read and think that, oh, Mama went through this and oh, Mama went through that. And so for a while, I was so afraid that people are going to read this book and they're not going to see it in the positive light that I'm seeing it in. Rather, they're going to see it and think that I've been through everything that Hanaan has gone through, and just kind of place me in a box from everything that you saw, that everything that you know about Hanaan, rather. Um, but from the first few editor readers that I got from my target audience, their responses already made my heart feel so like happy almost when I got the responses, because it was exactly what I wanted. I wanted, starting off with the teenager, the younger audience, I wanted them to read this and feel seen and say, okay, I'm currently going through this, or I've gone through this, and someone understands it and I don't feel alone. I really wanted that. And from the first editing readings to the first few people that got from pre-orders, that is exactly the response that I got. And then from an older audience, I was again a bit skeptical. Are they going to understand it, the generation gap, the age gap? Is it going to be almost hard for them to kind of understand what Hanaan is saying? But they also went through the same things when they were Hanaan's age, and so for them it was a moment to kind of look back and remember things that they've been through in their teenage years and just life as a younger person. So for all of us, the young and the old audience, everyone was able to get something from this book that resonated with them. So from all audience, even the boys that read the book enjoyed it. So I'm very pleased, alhamdulillah, that on all aspects people enjoyed the book.
I think we're about to go for an ad break. And when we come back, I want to hear more about your writing process, how long, and, just the sense of, because I think that there's so many young writers, emerging writers who want to hear more about the process. So let's get into that when we come back from the break, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Facing hunger, restores dignity to those in need, and brings hope where it is needed most. From food relief to essential support, Your Zakah reaches communities with care, transparency, and impact. Give with confidence, give with trust. Make Your Zakah count this Ramadan. Give Your Zakah to Ashraful Aid and help change lives today.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
In a world divided by crisis and detachment, let Ramadan reconnect us. Join African Muslims Agency to feed the fasting across the world. Donate an iftar box for 140 Rand, a monthly food hamper for 1,900 Rand, or feed a community for 20,000 Rand per day. From Gaza to Mozambique to Syria and more, every meal creates a connection between human hearts and the divine. This Ramadan, nourish bodies and reconnect souls with Africa Muslims Agency.
Joining hands, Salam Media.
What happened was that, at least when I realized that surely it cannot just be two women within South Africa that can be recognized. Things surely need to change. And I'm sure there are many more women within the IVF industry that, that needs to be recognized and promoted for the work they do. We realized that we needed to establish a platform where women within the IVF sector has a space where they can share knowledge, they can uplift each other. There's opportunities from a sisterhood perspective. When more women come on our forum, we're able to try and uplift them, support them, encourage them, and, mentoring opportunities, etc., so that we can eventually, get them recognized as well.
Fairuz Mohammed, the national chairperson for SANZAP.
This is Salam Media. Listen to something fresh.
This is a fight about data deployment, which is a policy of the Congress that they use to be able to deploy into government. So all the ministers that we see of the ANC come through that particular has been found to be problematic. The Democratic as an opposition party has decided the ANC government into court to ensure that it is prevented. We have seen that government has collapsed government, data deployment, affected corruption, and of course the poverty and unemployment and all the social issues that come with that. In the manner that we have moved, it has been favoring African employees, ministers who clearly have to deliver, members of cabinet that have to uphold their oath of office. Some of them listed in the corruption standards that we mission continue to enjoy employment dedicated deployment policy.
Fikile Fazi, a political analyst.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity. Listen to something fresh.
The biggest issue with building hijackings is the only people who win are the hijackers. They're the ones that are taking all the money. The city of Johannesburg or the municipalities lose money because building hijackers are definitely not going to pay their utilities or their rates. The landlord loses. The tenants are the ones that suffer the most, and not just the tenants in the hijacking buildings, but the tenants in the surrounding buildings, because these hijacked buildings become safe havens for criminals and gangs. The way that people who live in hijacked buildings, it's inhumane, the conditions in these properties, because they're neglected. It's all about the money.
The general manager of the Johannesburg Property Owners and Managers Association, Umamah, Angela Rivers.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity. Tune into Salam Media via audio stream.
Truthfully speaking, and I'm one of those that think, but also agree, so it's kind of controversial. You can bring in the army, so you can bring in Maberet, you can bring in all those people. If we as a community don't take our community, we'll never be able to win this battle. Yes, we do. Yes, we do need police. Yes, we need to be sorted out completely. But over the past months, I promise you that I've seen Firetown has really arrested so many, they've retrieved so many firearms, give them a call and they will act immediately. But one of those that they answer and they do it, take them on, or is it the fact that, they care? And I'm saying at this very time, it is for us, because the truth is, some of the people around don't need to be, they don't have to be there. They need to. We've given a memorandum to General Marshal and also to the bigger Firetown police station. All they tell you is certainly that's very impossible for them to do.
We're community activists, and that, of course, is Jefferson Alistair.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity. You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum, we're back. This is the third edition of our Ramadan season of BookBytes, and we're speaking to Umamah about her book, Diary of Hanaan, Essa. It's so delightful when I see young emerging writers getting published, putting fun and delightful reads out there, and encouraging younger readers, but also forming a really lovely bridge to bridge the generational gap when we get to read delightful stories like this. But what does it take? Right? How deep do you have to dig when you're writing on this level, in this nature, for the first time? And if you had advice for anyone out there who wanted to write their story, what would you say after your experience, your successful experience?
Before I can give any kind of advice, I do want to start off by saying I don't know how I even started writing, and I never ever thought that I would be over here publishing a book and talking about my book, and just being able to say I wrote a book called Diary of Hanaan Essa. I started writing Diary of Hanaan Essa one day at 3 a.m. Or 2 a.m., something like that, in the middle of the night. And I was just feeling very overwhelmed that day, and I felt like I need an outlet. And as funny and as ironic as it is, I don't like journaling or writing in diaries or anything like that. I've always kind of gravitated towards writing or just doing something with my hands, writing, drawing something, to like kind of seduce, I don't know, make my stress come low, right? And one day I started writing, and I was just like, okay, I have this character in mind, and there are a few things that I have to say, and I don't know how I'm going to say it. So I'm going to use this character to just explain how I feel. And I started writing and writing, and I wrote the entirety of chapter 1. And I had no direction, no idea how I was going to go about it. I just wrote, and I can tell you that chapter 1 was edited and redone maybe 20 times, because that first writing was like my planning. And I wrote that, and I was so proud of it. I was so incredibly proud, and I said, no, I have to continue the story, because even I'm hooked now, and I'm gonna write, and I don't know what's gonna happen with this. I don't know if I'm going to produce it, or if I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm just going to continue writing. And I went to my mother the next day, and I said, oh, by the way, I'm writing a book. And she's like, Mom, what do you mean you're writing a book? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm writing a book, and I just need help with the character's name. And I had a name in mind, and I told my mother and my sister, and they're like, no. And then somehow we came up with Hanaan Essa. And from there, I was very pumped. So I started writing every day. And of course, with writing every day, I went into the deepest slump afterwards, and I couldn't write for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I started spacing it out. So it was a very long journey it didn't take very long. It took about 6 months to write the book. But then it took another like 6 months to go through editing and proofreading and things like that. And through that time, I'm pretty sure I rewrote the entire book and just restructured everything. So that was kind of my writing process. I'm not a person that writes in a book with their hands. I was very much with my laptop the entire time, typing away. And I never, stressed it too much. I never stressed what I had to say. I just wrote what was on my mind. And I came back to it later and refined it until I was so happy with what I had. So I think the most important advice that I can give to any young writer is that it's very overwhelming to say I'm writing a book, and people are going to read this book. It has to be perfect. But I think taking your time with it, really, just write, and you can come back and you'll be able to see the mistakes that you made or what you think would sound better, things like that. Just take your time with it until you are so proud of what you've written, and until you feel confident that this is something that I want other people to read and that I'm proud to say I have written. So yeah, that's my main advice. Just take your time with it, and if you feel you have it in you, I promise you do. Just explore the talent that you have within you.
And taking from that advice that you've just given, I mean, you've also got that tribute in the book. Like now, and I'm looking at the back, and obviously through the read, if you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or unfinished, this one's for you. So you're injecting confidence through your book and through the advice for fellow writers or future writers. And that's really a mature aspect, because as much as your protagonist in this book is young, is a teenager, it's also important for them to see that, when you're talking about a young girl child, there's also this emotional development that's already inherent, that's there. There's a kind of maturity that's expected of us as a girl child, as a woman. It comes through in this book, and I find it so endearing to read about Hanaan and her struggles and her experiences. Let's also talk about the fact that she achieves her dream, right? She never imagines, and I think this is a lot of what you're sort of supporting here. That if if you're confident in yourself and you just go out and do it, you can achieve your dream. So talk to us about that, a little bit about that. How does she end up achieving her dream?
I can't tell you if she ends up achieving it. You must wait for the sequel. Um, but I want to start off with, the tribute and everything that I say in the book, and that I say the book is unfinished. The original name of the book was supposed to be Unwritten, The Diary of Hanaan Essa. And I really wanted to keep it in, but it's going to be a very long of a name. And there's a specific reason why I chose to say Unwritten. Because as much as it's an entire book, as you read it, you know that there's still so much more to say, and that it's not finished, it's just unwritten. And so it's unfinished, and there's just this whole thought process behind it that I felt like I just need to put out there that I haven't before. But then we look at how Hanaan wrote this insane life list in the first chapter, and how she was so ironically able to achieve almost every single thing on that list. And that I take from my own life. Sitting on Salam Media, and I'm gonna get mushy about this, but when I sit in a presenter's chair at Salam Media, it's something that I never in my life expected to do. And it's something that I'm so utterly grateful for, and the opportunities that I've gotten from being with Salam Media. And I felt like I can't be the only one who is experiencing this and experiencing this change in my life at such a young age that I never expected that I would have. And I wanted to portray that in the book, that my my mother, and you can see from Hanaan's mother as well, such a big support, that it actually happened with her saying, just message Salami, just see what they say. And now I find myself here. And the same way that she just took a leap of faith in all of these things that she started doing, and she found herself right at the top, exactly where she wanted to be. And really, it was all just running on hope and faith that inshallah this will work out. And even if it didn't work out, it was a learning experience for her. And so all in all, I can just say that, like you've said, Auntie Shafinaaz, that just try, really just try, and have an unrealistic mindset, really, because you never know what's going to come in your future. And Hanaan is the epitome of that. You read everything that Hanaan has been through, and how she has gotten to about to move abroad with her family and things like that. And you'd say it sounds fictional, but these are real life stories. People have experienced things like this. So yeah, man, we can all move out of South Africa and go and live in a foreign country with enough hopes and dreams, I think.
It's really amazing how you capture I think some of your personality in this writing, because I mean I'm enjoying listening to you speak, and that confidence and that celebratory kind of the joy, the real delight that I said. Because when we listed the books that we were going to get through this month, and obviously your recommendation came up, and I was like, one of the most delightful people I've had the joy of meeting. So I'm so glad that I got a chance to read your book. Mubarak once again on this amazing journey, and I know that many people are going to enjoy reading this, young and old, and we wish you everything of the best as a colleague, but as a fellow writer as well. Mubarak once again, and we wish you everything of the best with this journey. What do you hope for the next few months? And obviously you mentioned the sequel, so can we look forward to something coming up?
Firstly, Jazakallah so much, Auntie Shafinaaz. When I got the message that I'm going to be on your show, I was so excited. And I thought back to the time I met you in Rosebank. And I was like, that was such a lovely meeting. And I can't wait to chat with you again. And I hope that this is the first of so many more book-related conversations that we're able to have, inshallah, inshallah. There are a lot of ideas in my mind. And every day people ask me, what are you writing next? What are you writing next? And I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I have too many ideas. But I'm kind of just allowing myself right now to soak up Diary of Hanaan Essa and become one with Hanaan even more, before kind of moving on to something else. It's still so fresh for me, and it's like my baby. Like I might cry when I think of Diary of Hanaan Essa. With regards to a sequel, and I make everybody mad when I say this, is that unfortunately you're gonna have to wait like 10 years for the sequel. I was able to write Diary of Hanaan Essa now after going through all of those years. and experiencing life, and my journey throughout those years, so that I was able to, explain her emotions and her thoughts perfectly, because I myself have experienced that. And I said, I don't want to go into Hanaan's 20s and moving on to her 30s before I reach that. I want to live life and experience what life has to give me before I can sort of explain that to an audience and write it down, because it's almost like you can't really explain something unless you have lived it. And so I don't want it to sound cliche when I write. It needs to be how it is now, that it's something that you feel in your heart because you felt those exact same emotions and you were never able to really express them, So I want to just live, and then we can get to a sequel, inshallah. And then with regards to new writing, I have another fiction idea that I'm currently brainstorming. So inshallah, 2026, 2027, that is something that I'm so looking forward to. And I think the main thing also that I'm looking forward to is just creating more community within the book world, within the literature world. I this is like a small little side project that I've done, but it's brought me so much of happiness, really, and I want to dive deeper into it. So I'm asking you, Auntie Shafinaaz, to introduce me to all the authors and put me in your bubble, inshallah, because I love this and I'm having such an amazing time with my audience and my fan base all around Diary of Hanaan Essa, and I cannot wait to expand on it, inshallah.
That's absolutely fantastic to hear you say, and the delight with which you say it. And I say, don't give yourself like a tight deadline. Just keep writing for the joy of writing, for creating your characters, for getting these stories out there, and success will follow you. There's no doubt about it. I think if you love what you do, that is the main ingredient to success. So inshallah, we wish you everything of the best with this this debut publication and many more to follow, inshallah. Keep writing, keep spreading the joy and the delight as you do, and be, as you are, a flag bearer of our deen, and a young, enthusiastic person with so much of hope and faith for life, inshallah, because in this world, we need more of that. So that's it from us on BookBytes this weekend. It was a delight to speak to you, and we wish you all the best, inshallah.
Jazakallah so much for having me. I truly enjoyed this conversation. I'll see you on BookBytes soon, inshallah, for another book, inshallah.
And there you had it. We had Umamah Moruledi with Diary of Hanaan Essa. It was a delightful book, and it's, in my opinion, something that everybody should read. So please go out and get yourself a copy, or get in touch with her directly through her social media pages or through us at Salam Media. And that's it from us this weekend on BookBytes. Until our next week, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.